Hey everyone, What If Fan here. Welcome to a new series which is Reborn as Gohan in future timeline. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name in the description below. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update, What If Luffy Became a Marine is now on hold, as we're caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these two fanfics. What if Ichigo awoke his true powers? What if becoming a mangaka in the One Piece world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the favorite pick from the two and start working on that as its replacement series. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 1. In 765 AE, Goku suffered from a viral heart disease and died. In 766 AE, Trunks was born. In the same year, Dr. Gero, a remnant of the Red Ribbon Army, awakened the ferocious androids 17 and 18. The Z warriors were forced to face the enemy. Then, Yamcha, Tien, Kaiotsu, Krillin, Vegeta, and Piccolo died in battle. Gohan, who was only 9 years old, escaped because he was collecting Dragon Balls. 12 years passed quietly. One day in 778 AE, the sky was black as ink. Wisps of green smoke rose everywhere. The earth was broken, with damaged and collapsed buildings, and a musty breeze blew through. Looking down at the earth from a high altitude, thousands of adjectives converged into the word despair. This was the forgotten world of Dragon Ball original timeline, in a ruined city destroyed by androids. A gust of wind blew by, lifting half of a yellowed newspaper high into the sky, drifting away. In this messy ruin, there was a conspicuous small mound of earth. This small mound was actually a grave. Several flowers of different colors were placed on the grave, swaying in the wind. Several bananas, 2 apples, and a bottle of water were neatly placed in front of the earthen grave. Clearly, someone had intentionally placed these for sacrificial purposes. The soil was new, the yellow flowers had not yet withered, and the bananas and apples were still very fresh. Obviously, this was a new grave. We just don't know who was buried in it. Rustle, rustle. Just then, a slight sound was heard. The small mound of earth shook, and the sand on it was pushed in all directions and rolled down. Then, a pale hand broke out of the ground. A one-armed young man crawled out of the earth pit grave. He was pale, covered with wounds, and extremely weak. Just crawling out of the earth pit had consumed 90% of his strength. He lay on the ground to rest for a while, finally recovered some strength, and then struggled to sit up. After sitting down, he spit out the mud in his mouth, and then pinched his nose with his only remaining right hand to clear out the sand in his nasal cavity. After doing all this, the young man gasped and looked around blankly. Where is this? As soon as this question came into the young man's mind, his head felt like it was pierced by an iron needle, and it felt like it was about to split open. Ugh! He grabbed his head with the 5 fingers of his right hand and pulled out a lot of hair. Then, he buried his head between his legs and let out a dull roar like a beast. Along with waves of tingling, a strange memory rushed into his mind. A few seconds later, the young man gasped, wiped the beads of sweat on his forehead, and his whole body was soaked with cold sweat. He had transmigrated. He had become Son Gohan in the Dragon Ball world. But he was not the Son Gohan who could turn into a Super Saiyan 2 and beat up Cell at the age of 9. He is an adult Son Gohan in the original timeline. Now, his left arm was gone directly from the shoulder, leaving only his right arm. There is also a very eye-catching scar on his right eye. If the scar had been deeper, he might have lost his sight. And all this was thanks to the androids. The scar on his face was left from the battle with the androids a few years ago. His left arm was blown up by Android 18 more than a year ago when he was trying to save Trunks. Even the serious injury now was also caused by Android 18. He and this woman have an irreconcilable hatred. This Android 18 not only killed his relatives and friends, but even himself was killed by her. These two demons who only know how to kill and destroy have slaughtered hundreds of millions of lives in a year. If he hadn't traveled through time and space to give Son Gohan's soul a ray of life, Son Gohan would have definitely died in this disaster. It is absolutely impossible for him to crawl out of the grave. The two souls merged into one in an instant, indistinguishable from each other, and grew countless times larger in an instant. The seriously injured and dying body also regained some strength as a result. Pooh! Son Gohan spat out a mouthful of thick phlegm with mud again, and then took the purified water in front of the grave. He clamped the bottle with his legs and then twisted the cap hard. He raised the bottle with difficulty, tilted his head back, took a few gulps, and then drank the whole bottle of water. Then, Son Gohan ate all the bananas and apples. Anyway, they were sacrificed for him, and it would be a waste not to eat them. In the end times, wasting food is very shameful. What's more, his body now needs a lot of energy. These bananas and apples can only be said to be a drop in the bucket, which is not enough. Son Gohan sat cross-legged and rested for a long time, but he never heard the ding word he was counting on. Alas, it seems that there is no golden finger this time. He sighed helplessly, and then slowly stood up. As he moved, the broken body immediately protested, and a tearing pain came. Ah, it really hurts. Son Gohan grimaced, beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. This severely injured body had no idea how many bones were broken and how many internal organs were bleeding. But his perseverance was amazing. Although his whole body was in pain, it was not unbearable. The most urgent thing to do now was to find a safe place to hide and heal his wounds. Otherwise, if he died just after crossing over, it would be a shame. Although there was very little energy in his body, he could still fly. After determining the direction, Son Gohan mobilized his breath, his body floated in the air, and he slowly flew towards Bulma's house. Under the current circumstances, going to Bulma's place was the best choice. The Capsule Corporation was attacked by androids several years ago, and many of its equipment and research results were destroyed, no longer as glorious as they once were. But Bulma, the soul of the Capsule Corporation, is still alive. As long as Bulma is still there, the Capsule Corporation will continue to exist. Since the attack, Bulma moved the Capsule Corporation to a remote and inconspicuous corner of the western capital. And Son Gohan also knew very well that since the attack several years ago, the androids had not visited the Capsule Corporation again. Therefore, the Capsule Corporation is a safe place for the time being. At least it will be safe in the next few years. More importantly, Son Gohan wanted to tell Bulma and Trunks as soon as possible that he was still alive. Trunks, who buried him with his own hands, must be very sad now. An hour later, Son Gohan finally arrived at the Capsule Corporation. It was only a distance of more than 100 kilometers, but this time it took Son Gohan a full hour. It can be seen how weak he was at this time. If it were any other time, it would probably take less than 10 minutes to cover such a short distance. After Son Gohan landed, he felt his legs go weak, his vision went dark, and he almost fell to the ground. He forced himself to cheer up, staggered to the familiar gate, and then patted it with great effort. "Who?" A clear and loud shout was heard from inside the room. It was Trunks. "It's me." Son Gohan felt like his eyelids weighed 1,000,000 tons and he could hardly open them. There was a rush of footsteps in the room, and then the door was quickly opened. A 12-year-old boy with purple hair rushed out instantly. He looked at Son Gohan, his lips trembling constantly, and tears had already blurred his eyes. Son Gohan put his hand on his head and said, "Trunks, you've been slacking off. You didn't even know who was approaching." After that, Son Gohan couldn't bear the strong sleepiness anymore. His head tilted, his body softened, and he fell forward. Trunks was quick-witted and caught Son Gohan's body. "I know, brother Gohan." At this point, Trunks couldn't hold it in any longer and burst into tears, with tears and snot on his face. Although Son Gohan was covered in mud, Trunks was still afraid that his snot and tears would drip onto Son Gohan's body, so he kept wiping them with his sleeves, and finally, his whole face was stained. Bulma also came out. Her eyes were also full of tears, but she is an adult after all, and she tried hard not to cry out loud. She took a deep breath, then patted Trunks on the shoulder and said, "Don't cry, take Gohan to bed so he can rest, he is seriously injured now." "Yes, Mom." Trunks looked back at Bulma, stopped crying, and then carried Son Gohan into the house. Chapter 2. At this moment, Son Gohan is lying on the bed, his breathing steady and even, and he is sleeping soundly. As for his dirty clothes, they had been changed. His whole body was covered with bandages, with only his eyes, nose, and mouth exposed. He looked like a mummy. There are 15 broken bones in his body, multiple internal organs are bleeding, brain hemorrhage, and a lot of torn muscles. He is still alive despite such serious injuries. The vitality of Saiyan is really unbelievable, Bulma sighed, and then fed Son Gohan a recovery potion. After doing this, she pulled Trunks aside and asked, "Trunks, didn't you tell me yesterday that Gohan was dead? What's going on?" Yes, I buried brother Gohan myself, and I don't know what happened," Trunks said in confusion. "Now, tell your mother the whole story from beginning to end," Bulma said. Okay, Trunks nodded, thinking back to what happened yesterday, and began to recount it to Bulma word by word. It's like this: yesterday, after Gohan and I finished training, the android suddenly appeared in a nearby city and started wreaking havoc. I wanted to go with Gohan to stop these androids, but Gohan knocked me out. When I woke up and rushed over, it was too late. Brother Gohan was lying in a pool of blood, no longer alive, and the two damn androids were nowhere to be found. When he said this, Trunks clenched his fists until they turned white, and veins on his forehead suddenly appeared. Afterward, I buried brother Gohan and went home. It was exactly the same as what Trunks told her yesterday when he came back crying. There was no difference. Bulma was silent for a while, then said, "Your brother Gohan is very lucky. Maybe he didn't die yesterday. It was you, a stinky boy, who messed around." Bulma raised her hand to hit Trunks. But when she saw Trunks lowering his head, her eyes flickered, she sighed, and put her hand back. Oh, forget it, at least he's still alive. After all, no one wants Gohan to be alive more than Trunks. Bulma's eyes softened and she reached out to rub her son's soft hair. Son Gohan slept for 2 full days. On the 3rd day, he finally woke up. He stared at the ceiling for a while before he remembered that he had transmigrated. He was now in Trunks' house. It took him half a minute to finally turn his head around. A purple-haired boy was sleeping soundly at the end of the bed. He didn't know what he was dreaming about, but there was a smile on his face. A beautiful woman in a white coat was busy in the room, flipping through notes and calculating on the computer. In the center of the room was a semi-finished instrument with a very unique shape. Son Gohan took a look at the machine, and his mind turned for a long time, thinking that this was probably the legendary time machine. A few years later, Trunks took this machine back to more than 10 years ago and gave Son Goku a special medicine to treat the viral heart disease. Son Goku was saved. The timeline was divided from there, and it became 2 different worlds from then on. Thinking of these things, Son Gohan swallowed his saliva, only to feel his mouth and throat dry. Trunks, water, Son Gohan murmured in a hoarse voice. Then, he raised his mummy's leg and hit Trunks' arm. Ah! Who kicked me? Trunks was suddenly awakened. He opened his eyes wide and sat up suddenly. Then he saw Son Gohan blinking at him. Brother Gohan, you woke up? That's great. That's great. The boy's face was full of surprise, but he obviously didn't hear what Son Gohan said just now. Brat, get some water for your brother. Bulma came over and patted Trunks on the head in annoyance. Oh. Trunks finally reacted, picked up the water bottle on the bedside, opened the lid, and fed it to Son Gohan. He drank 2 sips and half of it leaked. The water flowed down and wet the bandage on his neck. Well, I'll do it myself, Son Gohan said. He squirmed and sat up straight. Son Gohan felt that the bandage on his hand was too much of a hindrance and it was very inconvenient to move. So he shook his right arm, and a breath of air swung out, which broke the bandage into pieces. He took the water bottle from Trunks and drank the water in the bottle in a few gulps. Bulma sat next to him, looked at Son Gohan, and asked with concern, Gohan, how do you feel now? Son Gohan glanced at Bulma and said, much better, but I'm so hungry. His stomach cooperated with him and made a gurgling sound. Mom, I'm hungry too, Trunks also said. That's good, Gohan, you should have a good rest and don't move around. I'll go make you some food, Bulma said with a smile, then looked at Trunks and pulled him. Trunks, you go help too. Oh. Trunks nodded. Brother Gohan, I'm going to cook with my mom first, and I'll talk to you later, Trunks said. Well, okay, son, Gohan replied. The mother and son left the bed and walked to the kitchen. Now, Dr. Brief and his wife are dead, and Vegeta is also dead. Bulma's family only consists of the mother and son who depend on each other. But son Gohan is even more miserable than them. He is the only one left in his family. When Bulma and Trunks brought out the dishes, they found that son Gohan had already put on his bright orange martial arts uniform and was carefully observing the half-finished time machine in the middle of the room. Bulma put the dishes on the table and exclaimed, Gohan, why didn't you listen and get out of bed? Your body is not well yet, you need to rest for at least another week. Son Gohan smiled and said, I feel fine now. I just need to eat a full meal, and I'll be fine after eating, ha ha ha. Really, you are becoming more and more like Goku now, Bulma said in a reproachful tone. But I really feel fine now, I'm just very hungry. How long have I been unconscious? Son Gohan asked curiously. Today is the 3rd day. Okay, go wash your hands. You can eat after washing your hands, Bulma said. No wonder I'm so hungry, that means I haven't eaten for at least 3 or 4 days, son Gohan murmured, touched his stomach, and went to wash his hands. After washing their hands, they sat down, put their hands together, thanked nature for the gift, and then started eating. While eating, Trunks looked at son Gohan, and after a long time of anxiety, he finally couldn't help but speak. Brother Gohan, that day, I thought you were dead. I couldn't feel any breath or heartbeat from you, and your body became cold. So, that's why I buried you. I'm sorry. Yeah, Gohan, what's going on? Bulma asked. Son Gohan glanced at Trunks, then looked at Bulma, stuffed a large piece of bread into his mouth, like a starving ghost. Then he said seriously, I did die, but I didn't accept it. I thought that there were still androids 17 and 18 in this world that had not been eliminated, so I struggled to come back to life. Trunks, we can't die so easily, otherwise there will be no warriors to protect the Earth. We must work hard to train our bodies and strive to eliminate those 2 damn androids as soon as possible. When I came back a few days ago, I saw that you were slacking off. Yes, brother Gohan. Trunks' eyes lit up, and he nodded heavily with pride. He is indeed brother Gohan, and his words are so nice. It sounds very inspiring. Chapter 3. The words resurrection from the dead would be hard to accept in other worlds, but in the Dragon Ball world, it is too normal. If you don't die several times, you are embarrassed to call yourself a warrior. Bulma did not continue to ask, but instead said earnestly. It's good that you know. Don't be so impulsive in the future. Can you beat 2 androids by yourself? Don't you know how powerful they are? You are always so reckless. Last time you lost an arm, and this time you almost lost your life. Son Gohan shrank his neck and kept nodding, yes. And you, Trunks, you are already 12 years old. Use your brain when doing things, don't just think about killing, rushing. If you all die, what will I do? Trunks also shrank his neck and didn't dare to reply. He secretly glanced at son Gohan and found that son Gohan was also secretly looking at him. So the two couldn't help laughing. Laugh? You still can laugh? The two immediately changed their faces to serious ones and buried their heads in eating. With 2 Saiyan gluttons, the food on the table was quickly swept away. After eating and drinking, son Gohan felt warm all over. He felt that his strength was recovering rapidly and soon broke through the original bottleneck. This is a unique talent of the Saiyan bloodline. Every time they recover from the brink of death, their strength will be greatly enhanced. Son Gohan clenched his fists, feeling the surging power in his body, and he was inexplicably excited. He knew that this should be something like potential, which might be exhausted and no longer exist. Otherwise, the Saiyans could completely rely on this bug to become invincible, and what would happen to other races? Before, he had always been beaten by number 18. But now, maybe it's a 50-50 chance. If he's bolder, it's not impossible to suppress number 18. Humph. A gleam of light flashed in Son Gohan's eyes, and he had already imagined the scene of beating number 18 into a pulp. But fantasy is fantasy. Son Gohan didn't really have the urge to rush out and fight the androids. Just kidding. Next to number 18 is number 17. That guy is not just a weakling who can only show off his appearance. Son Gohan knows that his strength is even higher than that of number 18. Rushing over now is a reckless act. Son Gohan now cherishes his life very much. Without absolute certainty, he does not want to take the initiative to provoke those two monsters. In the past, after Son Gohan gained power, his mentality would swell, as if part of his IQ was transformed into power, reducing his intelligence. But after fusing with another soul, this defect has disappeared. Not only does he cherish his life now, but he is also very calm. Gohan, you should stay here for the next few days. Take good care of your injuries and don't run around. Got it? Bulma said as she cleaned up the messy desk. She looked at Son Gohan, and the lively and sensible appearance of Son Gohan as a child flashed through her mind. Her heart ached, and her eyes were full of tenderness. He was once such a young and energetic boy, but now he only has one arm left, and the safety of the whole world is on his shoulders. How heavy it is. Alas. Okay, got it, Aunt Bulma. Son Gohan nodded and cleared the dishes with Trunks. He rolled his eyes and continued, Aunt Bulma, did Uncle Vegeta ask you to build a gravity room before? Is it still there? Of course, Son Gohan didn't know this before, but now, no one knows it better than him. He remembered that Bulma helped Vegeta convert a spaceship into a gravity chamber. Vegeta usually practiced in it. But the previous Son Gohan knew nothing about it and didn't make use of it. He was always outside with Trunks to train. Secondly, when Son Gohan was 9 years old, all the Z warriors died. There was no one to teach him, no one to communicate with him. It was already against the will of heaven that he could transform into a Super Saiyan by himself. There were so many things that Son Gohan didn't know. Hearing what Son Gohan said, Bulma was stunned for a moment. Then she said, that's right. At that time, I converted the spaceship he got into a gravity chamber and placed it at the former site of the capsule company. But because the androids once attacked the company, the spaceship was most likely damaged. What are you going to do? Trunks on the side pricked up his ears. He was too curious about the past, especially about Vegeta. Dad, what kind of person is he? Trunks thought. Son Gohan said, of course, I want to use the gravity room to practice. It suddenly occurred to me that if I use the gravity room to exercise, maybe Trunks and I will be able to defeat the androids soon. Really? Bulma's eyes widened. She was a genius in technology, but she was a complete novice in martial arts and training. Yes, of course. Son Gohan nodded, I'll go look for it now and I'll be back soon. Brother Gohan, I have to go too, Trunks said with anticipation. Okay, Son Gohan replied. Be careful. If you can't find it, I can make it again. But now the materials and equipment are very limited, so it may take a long time to make, Bulma advised. Got it, we'll go take a look and come back soon. Son Gohan and Trunks flew to the former site of the capsule group. Brother Gohan, what kind of person is Dad? During the flight, Trunks couldn't help but ask. Your father, Son Gohan thought of Vegeta's appearance in his mind, and then continued with a smile, he is a very proud man, very competitive. So who is more powerful, Dad or Mr. Goku? Trunks had a face full of longing. Now Trunks was like an ordinary child, asking others about his father. Son Gohan glanced at Trunks, not wanting to break his fantasy, and smiled, equally powerful. Hearing Son Gohan's words, Trunks became happy. Ha, I knew it, Mom said the same thing. Son Gohan was a little surprised. Bulma, did she say the same thing? Soon, the two came to the former site of the capsule company. This used to be the most prosperous place in the West. But now it has lost its former glory, only a ruin. Looking down from the sky, the ground was bumpy. The high-rise buildings were also seriously damaged, and many places were even covered with damp moss. Son Gohan looked around in the air. He quickly locked onto the target. Found it, over there. A sphere about 10 meters in diameter was lying crookedly in a crack. It was most likely the spaceship. Son Gohan and Trunks landed and came to the sphere. It is indeed that spaceship, Son Gohan said in surprise. Although the spaceship was covered with moss and had a big hole in it, it was undoubtedly a spaceship. Trunks was very curious when he saw this thing for the first time. He touched it left and right and ended up with moss on his hands. Son Gohan walked around the spaceship and finally found a raised button. Son Gohan thought to himself, the spaceship is indeed damaged, and I don't know if this capsule button is still useful. I can only take it back to let Bulma take a look, maybe she can fix it. Thinking of this, Son Gohan pressed the button hard. Then, the spaceship vibrated, and then boom! There was a sound, followed by a cloud of smoke, and then it turned into a capsule, which was held in Son Gohan's hand. Trunks, who was still touching the spaceship, was startled. Brother Gohan, you didn't tell me in advance. You scared me to death. Ha, you are so timid. Let's go back first, Son Gohan said with a smile and put the capsule away. The two returned the same way. Chapter 4. The journey was safe and sound, and the two soon returned to the capsule company. Son Gohan put the spaceship on relatively flat ground in the backyard. After a careful inspection, Bulma said, the damage is not particularly serious. It can be repaired in about a week. Hearing Bulma's words, Son Gohan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Plan 1, check. With the gravity training room and the spaceship, the operational methods and operating space will be greatly increased. So the next day, Son Gohan and Trunks cleaned up the spaceship. They cleaned up the moss and various dirt that covered the spaceship. Except for the damaged parts, the spaceship looked as good as new. Next, it's up to Bulma to show her skills. Son Gohan and Trunks didn't know much about this, so they could only watch the fun from the side. After resting for another 2 days, Son Gohan felt that his body had recovered, so he decided to put the second plan on the agenda. Plan 2, go to the lookout, aiming for the hyperbolic time chamber. In this timeline, let alone Son Gohan, even Vegeta doesn't know the existence of the hyperbolic time chamber. Therefore, Son Gohan didn't use the hyperbolic time chamber before. It's too wasteful, it's really too wasteful. But now there is another problem. Since Piccolo was killed, Kami also fell, and the lookout has become a no man's land. It is unknown whether Mr. Popo, the guardian of the lookout, is still there. It is also unknown whether the lookout has been attacked by androids. All of this can only be known by going there in person. Son Gohan plans to take Trunks with him. So on the 4th day, Son Gohan roughly told Bulma about his plan. Bulma was a little surprised that Son Gohan knew these things and only mentioned them now. If he had known earlier, wouldn't he have gone to practice earlier? After Son Gohan told the plan, he knew that Bulma would have these questions, and he already had the answers in his heart. Son Gohan said that he heard his father mention this by chance when he was very young, and it has been too long, and he suddenly remembered it now. He is not too sure, but it may help with practice. Bulma took a serious look at Son Gohan and did not delve into it. Well, it's good to have a method and direction, just go ahead, but wait a moment, I have something for you, Bulma said. Something for us? Son Gohan and Trunks were puzzled. They were wondering what it could be. Not long after, Bulma took out a capsule and pressed a button. Boom! The box was thrown on the ground and turned into a big box. Trunks opened the box with great interest and found a set of combat uniforms of the same style inside. It was composed of blue and white. This battlesuit looks so familiar. Son Gohan also squatted down and reached out to touch it. Bulma said slowly, with some sadness in her voice, these battlesuits were modified by me based on the battlesuits of Frisia's army more than 10 years ago. I made each of the Z warriors a set, but it's a pity that everyone died in battle without using them. The size that Gohan had back then should be suitable for Trunks. Son Gohan's eyes lit up. This is a good thing. This combat uniform is very light, close-fitting, and very breathable. Not only that, it can withstand a certain degree of attack and has good defensive properties. It is much stronger than the orange martial arts uniform he is wearing now. When Son Gohan was a child, he wore the combat uniforms of Frisia's army on Namek, and he was always impressed. And he also remembered the style in front of him. This was the equipment that Bulma took out when Son Goku and his son entered the hyperbolic time chamber for the first time in the alternate timeline. It can be said that the toughness of this combat uniform is such that even if Son Gohan and Trunks turned into giant apes more than 10 meters tall, they would not break. The stretchability is very strong, and it is a rare good piece of equipment. Son Gohan smiled and said, "Thank you, Aunt Bulma." Trunks said nothing, found the smallest set, and put it on directly. It really fit him. He jumped up and down, very satisfied with this combat uniform. Bulma smiled and said, "It really fits, Trunks looks very handsome in it." "Thank you, Mom," Trunks also smiled. Son Gohan was embarrassed to change clothes in front of Bulma, so he found a place to change and walked out. Bulma took a look and her eyes lit up. Son Gohan had an upright figure and solid muscles, and was stronger and taller than Son Goku back then. Son Gohan, who did not continue to study, had a better figure than a model. It was just a pity that he was missing a left arm, which affected his looks. He simply tied a knot on the left sleeve to prevent the empty sleeve from swaying in the wind. "Wow, Brother Gohan is so cool," Trunks shouted. Not bad, they all fit me well," Bulma nodded and smiled. Son Gohan put away the extra combat uniforms. Then he said, "Then Trunks and I will leave. It will take at least 1 day, at most 2 days, and we will be back soon." "Okay," Bulma nodded. "Goodbye, Mom," Trunks waved his hand. "Goodbye, Trunks," Bulma also waved. The two walked out of the house. Son Gohan identified the direction. Then the two took off and flew towards Korin Tower. Soon, heavy rain fell from the sky, and dark clouds covered everything. Son Gohan and Trunks walked through the rain, their auras rose, and no rain could get close to them. It didn't take too long before a pillar that penetrated the sky and the earth appeared in front of them. Various totems were carved on the huge pillar. Son Gohan knew that the top of the pillar was the legendary martial arts Holy Land, Korin Tower. "Trunks, let's fly up," Son Gohan turned around and said to Trunks. "Yes, Brother Gohan," Trunks replied. The two figures turned sharply and soared into the sky, breaking through the black clouds and soon arriving at the top of the pillar, Korin Tower, where Korin lived. Son Gohan and Trunks stopped, flew in, and landed smoothly. Son Gohan glanced around inside helplessly. Master Korin, who had lived here for many years, had disappeared. There were only a lot of empty bottles and jars left here, and nothing else. "Brother Gohan, what is this place?" Trunks asked curiously. "The residence of the cat hermit Master Korin. It used to cultivate the senzu beans," Son Gohan replied. "Ah, where is he now?" Trunks said in shock, and then he started looking through those bottles and jars, hoping to find a senzu bean to heal Gohan's broken arm. But unfortunately, not to mention one, not even half a bean was left. Son Gohan shook his head and said, "I don't know. Let's go to the lookout and see if it is still up there." The two left and continued to fly upwards. As they flew higher and higher, the sky was no longer gray but became clearer, and the warm sunshine shone on their bodies, making them feel indescribably comfortable. The two seemed to have come to another beautiful scene. Trunks had never seen such scenery before, and was very excited. If it weren't for his personality, he would have shouted. Soon, the two broke through a white cloud and came to the sky above the lookout. Chapter 5. Looking down from the sky, the semicircular Kami lookout floats not far from the atmosphere. The plants on it are lush and green, and several buildings rise from the ground, like a dream, worthy of the name of the Kami lookout. Son Gohan and Trunks landed. Trunks looked around, dazzled. He opened his eyes wide, jumped twice on the ground of the Kami lookout, and trotted out, curious about everything. He asked, "Brother Gohan, is this really where Kami lives?" "Yeah, that's right. Seeing Trunks' joy, Son Gohan couldn't help but smile. After all, he is a child, and he couldn't hide his happiness. Of course, Son Gohan was also very happy. At least, the lookout was not attacked by the androids, and everything was intact. This meant that the hyperbolic time chamber could still be used. I wonder if Mr. Popo was still here. Son Gohan thought so, and followed Trunks' direction and walked towards the building complex. There was an archway there, and through it was the real temple. They were still in the front half of the lookout, on the square. Brother Gohan, what does Kami look like? Trunks, who was running in front, turned around and asked. Isn't he very tall, handsome, and cool? Son Gohan thought of Piccolo's appearance and couldn't help but smile. He is quite tall. But handsome, he couldn't say. After all, it's strange to describe Namekians as handsome. Because there is no difference between men and women. At this moment, Son Gohan's pupils shrank. Because he felt that someone came out of the gate of the lookout in the dark. Son Gohan stared at the gate and stopped. Trunks, stop. Ah. Trunks stopped walking after hearing this. Then, he also spotted a figure coming out of the gate. There was no breath, and even no trace of any life waves. This. Trunks couldn't help but take 2 steps back. What on earth is this? Although the androids have no breath, at least they still have life waves. Is it Mr. Popo? Son Gohan asked with narrowed eyes. As he spoke, the figure finally walked out of the darkness. Or rather, he himself was a piece of darkness. Who else could it be but Mr. Popo? His whole body was pitch black, and except for the clothes on his body, there was no extra color on the rest of his body. Son Gohan breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that it was really Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo looked at Son Gohan, then at Trunks, and said, Mr. Gohan, you are finally here. I have been waiting for you for a long time. His face was pitch black, and you could not see any expression on his face. He did not have any emotions when he spoke, a bit like a robot. Waiting for me? What are you waiting for me to do? Son Gohan asked. Mr. Popo said, since the death of Kami 12 years ago, no human has come to the lookout. I have been waiting here for 12 years. Mr. Gohan is finally here. I want to ask Mr. Gohan, are you willing to be the new Kami? Hearing this, Trunks' eyes lit up. Cool, so cool. Brother Gohan will be the new god. There is nothing cooler than this. But Son Gohan's next answer made him stunned. I'm sorry, Mr. Popo, I don't want to be the Earth Kami. Son Gohan shook his head. Mr. Popo was not disappointed. Son Gohan's answer was within his expectations. But he still asked, oh, why? Son Gohan said, because even if I become the new Earth Kami, what good of it if I can't defeat the androids? As he said this, he was a little angry, and, as far as I know, there are constraints after becoming a Kami. For example, Mr. Popo, have you seen the sufferings of the world over the years? Over the past decade, the androids have been destroying and killing people at will, and the human world is suffering. It is really like crying out to heaven and earth for help, but no one is helping. What are you doing? The minimum is you can find a way to contact me, that would be fine. Mr. Popo lowered his head. I'm sorry, Mr. Gohan. As the guardian of the lookout, I have no way to interfere in human affairs. To be honest, Son Gohan is really angry now. He didn't understand these things at first. But because of the integration of another soul, he opened up another perspective. Therefore, he also knows that there are actually many ways to save the Earth. In these years, no one has cared about the Earth, and a mess has been thrown on the shoulders of a 9-year-old child. Is this reasonable? This world has completely become a forgotten world. How can Son Gohan not be angry? Because he himself is that helpless child. Who knows how he has been through the past years? Damn it! If someone had cared about it, the Earth would not have become what it is now. In this state. For example, if Mr. Popo came down to the mortal world, brought him to the lookout, taught him how to practice, and told him the secret of the hyperbolic time chamber, Son Gohan felt that he could do it, at least he wouldn't be as miserable as he is now. For another example, when the disaster just started, King Kai talked to him and told him the location of New Namek. Then he could take a spaceship to Namek, collect the Dragon Balls, and save everyone. But no, nothing happened. Now more than 10 years have passed, and still no one cares. Even if a new Namek is found now, those former companions can no longer be resurrected. What makes him most resentful are those dead companions. Although it is a bit disrespectful, he just thinks they are very hateful. King Kai can be said to be forgiven because there are too many planets under his management, and he forgot the existence of the Earth. What about the others, and his dad? If nothing unexpected happened, he should have retained his physical body and practiced in the underworld or King Kai's planet. How did he manage to ignore Earth for more than 10 years? Damn it! Thinking of this, Son Gohan couldn't help but wipe the corners of his slightly damp eyes, and then clenched his right fist. His feet couldn't help but have more strength, and his momentum suddenly exploded. With him as the center, a circle of airwaves exploded. The ground under his feet cracked with several cracks, and golden flames rose up. Son Gohan himself never thought that after he crossed over, the first time he felt the anger of his predecessor was here. As we all know, Son Gohan has always been a gentle person, and his anger value has always been a mystery. But anger can also be said to be his biggest trigger. As long as he is angry enough, the grass on the graves of number 17 and number 18 will probably be more than 3 meters high. Seeing Son Gohan suddenly burst into energy and turned into a Super Saiyan, Trunks and Mr. Popo were shocked. Oh my god, Brother Gohan's ki is so strong. With this kind of ki, I'm afraid he can already defeat the androids. Trunks was shocked. Mr. Popo waved his hands and apologized repeatedly. Mr. Gohan, please calm down. I really have no choice. It's my duty. I really can't interfere in the affairs of the world. I'm sorry. He thought it was his answer that angered Son Gohan. Son Gohan exhaled and calmed himself down. He dispersed the powerful aura in his body and said, "Sorry, that was a bit rude." No, it's okay. Mr. Popo waved his hands and breathed a sigh of relief. Then he said, "Since you are not here to become the new Kami, what is the reason for you coming here this time, Mr. Gohan?" Son Gohan said directly, "We want to use the hyperbolic time chamber, is that okay?" Ah, so Mr. Gohan knows about the hyperbolic time chamber. Of course, no problem, both of you please follow me, Mr. Popo said, making a gesture of invitation, and then turned and walked into the temple. Trunks looked at Son Gohan. What are you looking at? Follow me, Son Gohan said. Oh, Trunks followed immediately. Son Gohan also strode in. Brother Gohan, you were so angry just now. As they walked, Trunks turned around, and Gohan said, "It won't be long before you surpass this aura." Son Gohan said seriously. He was not bragging. With the help of the hyperbolic time chamber to assist in training, Son Gohan was very confident. Trunks would surely become stronger soon, surpass the aura he just released, and then become even stronger. After walking for a while, the three stopped in front of a big door. Son Gohan looked up and found a wall clock hanging right above the door. Mr. Popo said, "Mr. Gohan, this is the hyperbolic time chamber. The speed of time in the hyperbolic time chamber is different from that outside. Spending a year inside is actually just 1 day outside. Everyone can only use 2 days in their lifetime. Mr. Gohan has to keep track of the time. If the time is exceeded, the gate will automatically disappear, and you won't be able to get out." Son Gohan nodded. "Yes, I understand." Mr. Popo said, "But I'm overthinking it. It's impossible for someone to live in there for 2 years. Mr. Goku ran away after only a few months." Son Gohan. "Okay, let's go in," Mr. Popo said, pushing open the door of the hyperbolic time chamber. Is there really such a magical place in the world? Trunks stuck his head in and found that it was a white, unknown world. Plan 2, check. Chapter 6. Trunks' eyes were full of curiosity as he walked in. Son Gohan followed closely behind. After the two of them entered, the door of the hyperbolic time chamber closed automatically. Son Gohan looked back and found that there was also a wall clock on the inner door. It showed exactly 0 o'clock. But it was moving very slowly, and it would not jump for a very long time. Son Gohan knew that this did not mean that the wall clock was broken. Instead, when the clock turned to 0 o'clock again, a year had passed. Trunks walked in front, looking very excited. He said, "Brother Gohan, did you hear that? 1 year in here, but only 1 day has passed outside. It's amazing, isn't it?" Son Gohan smiled and said, "Well, of course, and it's not just that the time here flows slowly, you'll know in a while." "What else?" "Brother Gohan knows too much," Trunks said. "I'll tell you later, let's take a look at the accommodation first," Son Gohan said. He will let Trunks experience 10 times the gravity, plus the huge temperature difference, and experience the pleasure of ice and fire. Son Gohan decided to give Trunks a surprise. The accommodation is on the right-hand side of the door. The accommodation is simply decorated with 2 large beds, a wardrobe, and a wall mirror as tall as a person. A little further inside there is a bathroom and a toilet. There is a huge bathtub in the bathroom. It should be very comfortable to lie down in it when you are tired of practicing. At this time, Trunks asked, "Brother Gohan, where does the water here come from? Where does it go?" "Trunks, your question really stumps your brother Gohan. Maybe it's about coming from where it should be and going to where it should be." Trunks. On the left side of the door is the kitchen. In addition to the common tableware, there are also several large vats. Open the lid of the large vat and take a look. There is water, rice, and flour in the vat. Want to eat meat? No chance. It's just enough to fill your stomach. Son Gohan knows that there are some problems with these large vats. It seems that they will automatically refresh every once in a while. It's very magical. However, Son Gohan is too lazy to delve into this kind of thing that violates the common sense of physics. After all, this is a 2D world, how could anything be possible or impossible? After looking at the kitchen and the residence, Son Gohan waved his hand and said, "Trunks, follow me." "Okay." Trunks nodded and followed Son Gohan excitedly. He didn't know if Trunks would be able to laugh again in a while. The two of them passed through the passage between the residence and the kitchen and came to a vast white space. They were like standing on a white coastline, looking into the distance, unable to see the end. Son Gohan said with a smile, "Trunks, go down and take a look." "Okay." Trunks answered loudly, then jumped into the white world. Then, with a thump, he fell flat on his face. Trunks looked at Son Gohan with resentment and struggled to stand up. But the overwhelming 10 times gravity came over him, dragging his body towards the ground. Trunks felt that every cell in his body was falling. "Ha ha ha." Son Gohan pointed at Trunks and laughed. "Brother Gohan, you are such a jerk." Trunks grumbled with a flat mouth, white flames burning on his body, and then he slowly stood up. It was also because he was careless, and he didn't have the slightest defense in his heart, nor did he have the slightest concern. Otherwise, with Trunks' fighting power, he wouldn't have fallen here like that. "Ha ha ha, I forgot to tell you that the gravity here is 10 times that of the Earth." Son Gohan laughed and walked into the white square. With the preparations in advance, Son Gohan would certainly not have any problems. He just felt that his body was heavy and it was not so convenient for him to move. "Brother Gohan, you knew about it but didn't tell me in advance, causing me to fall." "Damn it." Trunks was still there indignantly. "Ha, it's better to feel it directly than if I told you," Son Gohan said, and he felt the air around him suddenly become hot. With every breath, it was as if he sucked in a wisp of flame, constantly burning his internal organs. But after a while, the temperature plummeted. In just a few breaths, he fell from the stove into the ice cave. The extremely cold air slowed down the blood flow. The exhaled breath turned into ice chips in an instant. Sometimes it was extremely hot, sometimes it was extremely cold, ice and fire alternated, it was so terrifying. Trunks' face turned red and white. "I finally understand why Mr. Popo said that no one can live in here for 2 years. This is really terrible." Son Gohan took a few deep breaths of the air mixed with ice and fire, stretched his muscles and bones, and then punched and kicked with great force. After a few jumps, he stopped. Trunks said, "You are right. This kind of environment is indeed very tormenting, but practicing in such an environment can make our strength soar. 10 times the gravity, plus the extremely cold and hot air, even if we do nothing, just living here can continuously improve our power. So, Trunks, in order to defeat the androids and become stronger, we should be grateful for having such a training environment." Trunks stood at attention and said, "I know, Brother Gohan, I will work hard to practice." Son Gohan nodded, "Okay. Come on, Trunks, time is running out and the task is heavy. We have to race against time. Let's start our first stage of training now." "Good. Come on, don't transform into a Super Saiyan, attack me with all your strength." Son Gohan divided this training into 3 stages. He knew that his and Trunks' foundations were too poor. So the first stage was to consolidate and strengthen their foundation. This basic quality includes several types, namely basic combat power, resistance to blows, and combat skills. The 3 can be carried out at the same time and complement each other. Son Gohan plans to complete this stage in 6 months. It doesn't matter if it takes a little longer. Only when the foundation is laid can you build a tall building on it. The so-called sharpening the knife does not delay the chopping of wood, and this is also the truth. As for the second stage, Son Gohan's plan is to surpass Super Saiyan. After the foundation is laid, they must start trying to break through. Not only must you dare to think, but you must also dare to do and dare to practice. Only in this way can you constantly break through yourself. If you are complacent and think that Super Saiyan is already the pinnacle, then you will never surpass it. Son Gohan also plans to complete this stage in 6 months. It may take a little longer. But there is no other way. They have no teacher, so they can only rely on continuous attempts and practices to prove the feasibility. Learn lessons from failure and keep trying new methods. Son Gohan believes that he will succeed one day by constantly failing and backing up again. Anyway, things can't get any worse. Now it's much better than before, isn't it? Chapter 7. Time is merciless and always slips away quietly. In the blink of an eye, 6 months have passed. In the hyperbolic time chamber, Son Gohan and Trunks are fighting each other. Compared to 6 months ago, their hair has grown a lot. Not only that, Trunks has become stronger and taller. Both of them are fighting in their normal state, but the rumbling sound of hitting is endless. Their power is incredible. The 6-month period has arrived, and the fighting power of both of them has improved by leaps and bounds, and it is no longer the same. But if one looks closely, one will find that Trunks is out of breath, while Son Gohan is calm and relaxed, and he can handle it with ease. Although he only has one hand now, he still gives people a sense of power and invincibility. Boom! The 2 fists collided with each other, and the powerful momentum suddenly exploded. The 2 also separated at the touch and stood 2 or 3 meters apart. Trunks panted and said, "Brother Gohan, you are too strong. I am no match for you." Son Gohan looked at him and laughed, "Ha, you have made great progress. Besides, I am your teacher after all, so it is only natural that I am stronger than you. But you will surpass me sooner or later. Brother Gohan, stop joking." "Ha ha." Trunks laughed. "Okay, let's stop here for today. Take a good rest for a day, and start a new stage of training tomorrow," Son Gohan said with a smile. "Great." Son Gohan rubbed Trunks' hair, and the 2 of them went back to the rest area with a laugh. After taking off their sweaty clothes and taking a nice hot bath, they made rice balls and pancakes to eat, and then fell asleep soundly. The next day, the 2 began to try to practice breaking through the boundaries of Super Saiyan. At this moment, Trunks has become a blonde and green-eyed Super Saiyan, with a golden aura burning all over his body. Lightning punches and kicks continued, and ha, 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 could be heard continuously in the square of the hyperbolic time chamber. Son Gohan sat cross-legged on the ground with his eyes closed, constantly deducing in his mind and integrating new ideas. Having lived 2 lives, the memory of the previous life plus the memory of this life, as well as the powerful soul power and understanding after the fusion of the two souls, the current Son Gohan's ability to improve and his understanding should not be underestimated. And he sat there for a week. A week later, in Trunks' astonished eyes, Son Gohan stood up. His eyebrows furrowed, and his teeth clenched. Then he clenched his right fist and a long roar of "Ha" roared out of his mouth. Then, with Son Gohan as the center, a whirlwind arose out of thin air, soaring up and constantly spreading to the surroundings. Boom! A muffled thunder sounded in the sky where there was nothing, and a bolt of lightning struck down. Ah! Son Gohan's long hair stood upside down, with blonde hair, green eyes, and a surging golden aura, and he instantly turned into a Super Saiyan. But his basic combat power is much higher than Trunks, and therefore, after transforming into a Super Saiyan, his combat power was multiplied further. After all, the combat power of a normal Super Saiyan is 50 times that of the basic combat power. The strong wind blew on his face, and Trunks widened his eyes, secretly sighing at Brother Gohan's powerful aura. He is so envious and wondered when he could become so strong. But Son Gohan's transformation was far from over. His aura was still increasing. 2 seconds later, Son Gohan's muscles all over his body swelled, and the whole person instantly rose 20 centimeters, from 181 centimeters directly to just over 2 meters. A golden light flashed, and his muscles reflected a dazzling luster. The surging airwaves were overwhelming, forcing Trunks to close his eyes. Ah, this! Brother Gohan has surpassed the bottleneck of Super Saiyan and entered a new realm. Trunks was shocked but also surprised by Son Gohan. It seems that he needs to work harder. Brother Gohan is getting further and further away, Trunks thought to himself. With the aura displayed by Brother Gohan at this time, the androids are no longer a threat. He couldn't believe that after being defeated by the androids for 12 years, he didn't expect that after burying Brother Gohan once, Brother Gohan would suddenly surpass the androids. In such a short time, his strength went out of control and he became so powerful. It's incredible. Maybe I should let Brother Gohan bury me once? Trunks thought. While Trunks was daydreaming, Son Gohan was carefully feeling the changes in his body. His limbs were strong and powerful forces kept washing over his body. Son Gohan felt that all the pores on his body were open, and what flowed in his blood vessels was no longer blood, but boiling magma. At this time, his muscles were knotted, as if he had endless power. But it didn't take long for Son Gohan to discover a very serious problem. But this was also within his expectations. This form will leak stamina faster, Son Gohan said helplessly. That's right, his open pores were not only greedily absorbing air but also breathing in and out his breath. Although the power is strong, the consumption is extremely alarming. According to Son Gohan's speculation, his current form, the power has increased by at least 70 times compared to the Super Saiyan form. It is about 20 times stronger than the ordinary Super Saiyan. But the consumption is too much. It is completely unsustainable and not suitable for a long battle. So, this is probably a failed transformation. But even so, this form is more than enough to deal with androids 17 and 18, and killing them is effortless. It seems. While the power is not consumed much, Son Gohan decided to try another form in one go. Aha! The already powerful aura boiled up again and continued to rise. Trunks was completely dumbfounded and fell to the ground, not caring whether his butt hurt or not. In his horrified eyes, Son Gohan's body grew taller and bigger again. The terrifying aura swept across the world. Although he knew that it was Brother Gohan, Trunks couldn't help but feel a little scared. If he was a big muscular man before, then he must be close to the monster level now, right? Trunks swallowed his saliva and moved his butt. Brother Gohan now looks a little scary. Muscles swelled like granite, and golden flames all over his body were puffing. Fortunately, Son Gohan's face now looks more manly, and there is a scar on his eye. If it was Trunks' face, it would be too explosive. The impact of the picture was so explosive that it was unimaginable. Son Gohan exhaled and moved. He tried testing his boxing skills and speed, shook his head, and simply changed back to his normal state. Seeing that Son Gohan's momentum had dissipated, Trunks also breathed a sigh of relief. As for the form just now, it was still a failed transformation form. It was true that the power had increased to 90 times the normal state. But there were great flaws. In terms of pure power, this form was already comparable to Super Saiyan 2. However, this form not only had the problem of very serious energy consumption but also its speed was sharply reduced by half, which was a great disadvantage. Even if the power was strong, it would be useless if it could not hit the opponent. When the power was exhausted, he would be at the mercy of others. This form was called SS1 Stage 3. Trunks walked over, with an envious expression on his face, and said, "Brother Gohan, you were really amazing just now. I was scared by you. You were so invincible. If I were the androids, I would turn around and run away when I saw you." Son Gohan clenched his fist, looked at him seriously and said, "Trunks, in fact, the two transformations just now were failed transformations. Although the power was greatly enhanced after the transformation, the disadvantages were too obvious." So, Son Gohan explained the advantages and disadvantages of the two transformations to Trunks in detail. Then he continued, "But I already have a better idea. I believe half a year is enough. If it still doesn't work, we can spend another year researching. We still have time." "Oh, okay." Trunks was amazed. Brother Gohan is really a smart man, his mind turns so quickly. He just failed to transform, and he has a new idea. He hasn't thought of anything yet. As a disciple, he also wants to learn. Although Son Gohan's comprehension is not weak now, these transformation forms are not what he thought up. These transformation forms were mentioned in the alternate timeline. But seeing it and experiencing it with the body are not the same concept. Son Gohan spent a lot of time from remembering it to experiencing it with the body. If his comprehension was a little worse, perhaps even longer time would be wasted. After all, he has no one to guide and teach him now. It is not easy to practice based solely on a vague concept in his mind. As for why he tried these two failed transformations instead of directly skipping over to simulate the full power form of Super Saiyan 1, Son Gohan has his own ideas on this point. As he said, only when the foundation is solid enough can the building be built higher and more stable. Only by walking on the road you have walked, will you know where the traps are and avoid them or make up for them next time. In life, no step is taken in vain, every step counts. Chapter 8. Trunks asked, "Brother Gohan, what is the new idea you just mentioned?" Son Gohan was like a teacher at this time, answering questions for his student and leading him into a new world. Son Gohan said, "Trunks, you have to remember that no matter what kind of transformation you make, our body is the foundation of everything and the most important. Transformation is nothing more than finding the trick of the body, and then activating this trick to gain powerful strength in a short period of time. But only when our own physical fitness is strong enough, the power we can inspire will be stronger. The stronger the body, the greater the power we can withstand." Trunks nodded, as if he understood why Brother Gohan had to undergo the first stage of training. Son Gohan continued, "Therefore, we should exercise diligently and unremittingly to continuously improve our overall physical fitness, so that after we transform, our strength will be stronger, more stable, and we can bear more power." "Got it, Brother Gohan." Trunks said he was taught, although Gohan seemed to have said a lot of repetitive words and hadn't gotten to the point. Is this how everyone becomes a teacher? As for the new direction I just mentioned, it is naturally related to the basic attributes and habits of our bodies. Trunks pricked up his ears. Son Gohan continued, "Now let's make an assumption. We take the Super Saiyan state as our daily basic form, train it, get familiar with it, and overcome it. Trunks, what do you think will happen?" Son Gohan looked at Trunks and asked. Trunks thought for a moment, then said excitedly, "When we transform again, will our strength increase dozens of times again like we have now when we become Super Saiyans?" Son Gohan, you are really bold. But it is good that your brain has become active. Son Gohan said, "It's not that exaggerated, but it is certain that we can greatly reduce the consumption of ki and allow our bodies to withstand greater power. However, this process is definitely difficult. We need to spend a lot of time to adjust and overcome it until we conquer it." I'm a little excited after hearing this. Brother Gohan, I'll listen to you and do whatever you say. Trunks slapped his thigh and was very excited. Let's eat first, Son Gohan said. Ah, okay, I'm a little hungry too. Trunks was stunned for a moment. After dinner, the two trimmed their hair and started the first round of attempts. First, they turned into Super Saiyans, and then dispersed their aura. They maintained the state like this. But unfortunately, it ended in failure after a few minutes. After all, after transforming into a Super Saiyan, the mentality will be very irritable and belligerent. But after dissipating the aura, the angry and irritable heart will soon calm down. As the mood calms down, the transformation will automatically dissipate. Therefore, it is difficult to maintain the state, let alone turn this state into a kind of normal day-to-day state. Time is like flowing water, and a month has passed. In the square of the hyperbolic time chamber, it's really hard, Brother Gohan, I can't hold on for long, Trunks said, bending over with his hands on his knees. Keep practicing. The blonde Son Gohan was slowly doing some messy punches. But it looked a little weird to punch with one hand. Another month later, now it's finally much better, I can last most of the day, Trunks laughed. You, Trunks, I can hold on for several days. Keep going. Trunks was like an eggplant hit by frost, okay, I will keep going. 6 months later, Brother Gohan, I'm used to it now. I can even maintain the Super Saiyan form when I sleep, Trunks said to Son Gohan excitedly. Not bad, Trunks, you have made great progress, I am very pleased. Son Gohan gave him a thumbs up without hesitation. It's not easy to get praise from Gohan. Trunks sighed. Son Gohan just smiled and didn't answer him. Half a year later, Trunks finally succeeded. And Son Gohan, in fact, had completed his second stage of training 3 months ago. Looking back on this period of time, the cooking pot broke, the bowl broke, and the bed broke. It was also a very interesting memory. If it weren't for the automatic refresh function in this hyperbolic time chamber, the broken bed alone would be enough to make the two of them sad. In a blink of an eye, a whole year had passed since the master and apprentice entered the hyperbolic time chamber for training. Brother Gohan, what should we do next? After finishing the meal, Trunks looked up and asked. Son Gohan said, enter the third stage, consolidate, summarize, review the old and learn the new. Trunks, what the hell? There is no sun or moon in the hyperbolic time chamber, and another half a year has passed. Trunks has completely grown into a handsome teen. But maybe because Vegeta's genes are too strong, Trunks is not that tall. Son Gohan has not changed much, after all, he is already in his early 20s, and his body has long been mature. But a year and a half of exercise still makes him look a little stronger. The contours of his face are more obvious, and he is handsome with a little cool feeling. The scar on his face adds a wild and uninhibited taste. Recently, Son Gohan found that his body seemed to have reached a bottleneck period, and his strength growth became very slow. It is almost equivalent to standing still. He knew that haste makes waste. In the past year and a half, both of them have made great progress. If they are forced to continue training, big problems may arise. It is also important to combine work and rest. Proper rest is sometimes more effective than rushing all the time. So, Son Gohan stopped forcing it. After seeking Trunks' opinion, the two left the hyperbolic time chamber. Outside the door, Mr. Popo was already standing there. Although his face was dark and no expression could be seen on his face, his surprise could still be felt. He looked at the blonde Son Gohan and Trunks and marveled. What a big change! Just standing there gives people a feeling of being unfathomable and untouchable. Seeing Popo, Son Gohan greeted him, Mr. Popo, why are you waiting for us at the door? Mr. Popo came back to his senses, looked at the master and apprentice and said, I was worried that you guys would exceed the time limit, so I wanted to come and give you a reminder. I didn't expect you to come out early. But it's really amazing that you can train in there for a year and a half. If it weren't for the bottleneck, I could train for 2.5 years, Son Gohan thought to himself. But he said, thank you, Mr. Popo, for your concern. It's okay in there, but the food is not very good. It would be better if you can prepare some meat next time. Yes, I agree, Trunks strongly seconded. Hee, I'm sorry, meat can't be preserved in it. I'll go prepare food for you too, Mr. Gohan and Trunks. Wait a moment, Mr. Popo said. Food? Speaking of food, Son Gohan and Trunks swallowed their saliva frantically. In the past year and a half, they have been eating rice balls and pancakes every day. The two are going crazy. Meat, they want to eat meat, lots and lots of meat. There are several villains in the hearts of the master and the apprentice who are shouting wildly. They feel like they can eat a whole dinosaur now. A moment later, Mr. Popo prepared a large table of food. The two Saiyans were wolfing down the food like starving ghosts, devouring it all in a whirlwind. The chaotic scene was comparable to a great war. Popo was stunned beside them, shocked beyond words. This scene is quite familiar. It can be traced back to the time when Son Goku lived in the temple to practice. It has to be said that Mr. Popo, who has lived for endless years, is a very good cook. Son Gohan and Trunks were both 5/10 full. Thank you, Mr. Popo, for your hospitality. Trunks thanked him politely. Then, the two of them jumped from the lookout and fell straight to the human world. The wind whistled in their ears, and they returned to the gray world. Trunks, are you full? Son Gohan asked with his head tilted. No, brother Gohan. Trunks touched his stomach. Okay, let's go have a barbecue first, and then we'll go kill the androids after we're full, Son Gohan said with a smile. Yeah, okay, Trunks replied. The two landed in a forest and saw the dinosaurs that can be seen everywhere in the Dragon Ball world. Trunks, come on. Son Gohan found a tree and leaned against it. Trunks understood and rushed out instantly. He randomly picked a lucky dinosaur, gutted it, and grilled it on the fire. After a while, the dinosaur oil was gushing out, the color was golden, and the fragrance filled the forest. Brother Gohan, here you go. Trunks, who was busy and sweating, tore off a whole dinosaur leg and handed it to Son Gohan. It smells really good. Let's make up for the past year and a half. The master and apprentice feasted on the dinosaur, and soon only a bare skeleton was left. At this time, a radio broadcast came from a nearby city. Now for the latest news about Android. The town of Taikula, 200 kilometers south of the eastern city, was attacked. Hey, it's time to finish it. The master and apprentice, who had eaten and drunk their fill, began to set off. Chapter 9. South of the eastern city, there is the small town of Taikula. The town of Taikula was filled with thick smoke and flames. There were rumbling explosions everywhere. Android 17 and Android 18 started a brutal massacre here. In just a few minutes, hundreds of thousands of people in the town were killed. The barking dogs were blown to ashes by the energy bombs. The whole town was in pieces and it was a horrible sight. It was hell on earth. Android 17 raised his hand, and a golden light wrapped around his hand, and an energy ball exploded. Boom! A building more than 20 stories high exploded in an instant, with reinforced concrete flying everywhere and crackling sounds. Then, a black mushroom cloud rose into the sky, and a heat wave swept across the sky. 17, the people here have been killed. Don't waste your energy. Let's go to another place, to the south. There should be many people there waiting to play games with us. The girl crossed her arms and spoke coldly. This is the goddess in the Dragon Ball world, number 18. She has smooth golden shoulder-length hair, a beautiful face, and delicate white skin. She wears a buttonless denim jacket on the upper body, with a horizontal striped long-sleeved t-shirt inside. She wears a denim miniskirt on the lower body, and her slender and round legs are matched with black stockings and high boots. The proportions of her body are simply perfect. She stood there, exuding the aura of a noble and cold queen. Looking at her, number 17 said, "Don't be in a hurry. What's the point of killing all humans at once? Let's kill them slowly, otherwise there will be no fun in the future." Number 17 is a handsome boy who looks very similar to number 18. Because before they were transformed into androids, they were actually a pair of twin siblings. So they look very similar. Number 17 also has long hair, and his long black hair is even longer than number 18. Although the two androids have been activated for more than 10 years, they still look exactly the same as they did more than 10 years ago because they have not aged. They look only 17 or 18 years old. No. 17 has an orange scarf wrapped around his neck, a black top, loose pants, a pistol hanging on his waist, and a cowboy outfit. The elder sister is an iceberg beauty, and the younger brother is cold and handsome. If you only look at their appearance, you can never imagine that these two people are actually murderous monsters. Because of them, more than 70 to 80% of humans on Earth have died. Natural disasters and zombie apocalypses are not so thorough. Number 18 chuckled and said, "You are so childish. I think it's best to kill them all in one go." Hearing her words, number 17 suddenly laughed and said, "Ha, childish? I don't know who it was, but last time she lost a game, she destroyed the entire city." Humph. Number 18 turned her head to the side. Then she raised her hand and pointed. A golden light flashed at her fingertips, and another building exploded. "Well, let's destroy this city in one go, and then go to the South Capital to continue killing people." "No," 17 said, flying high into the sky. At the same time, an energy ball quickly formed in the palm of his right hand. The blazing energy surged, flickering and illuminating a large area of the sky. He wanted to raise the city below him to the ground in one fell swoop. Seeing this, number 18 also flew high into the sky to prevent the dust from the explosion from dirtying her clothes. At this moment, two figures quickly shot from the sky. In the blink of an eye, they arrived next to number 17 and number 18. Before number 17 and number 18 could react, they were each hit by a heavy kick, and then fell from the air and hit the ground. The ground cracked and a rumbling sound erupted. "Whew! Damn it, my clothes are all ruined." Number 18 walked out of the thick smoke, her jacket and t-shirt were blown in half, revealing a large area of dazzling white. "Damn, this is my favorite dress, and I don't have many left." She tore off her torn denim jacket and wiped the dust off her face, already furious. "No." 17 also flew out from the ruins of the explosion, his face equally cold. Son Gohan and Trunks, the instigators, fell from the sky and stood not far from the androids, with a teasing smile on their faces. Trunks took a look at number 18 and found that most of her upper body was exposed. His face turned red and he quickly looked away. Seeing that it was Son Gohan and Trunks, number 17 and number 18 were stunned at the same time. "Son Gohan, you are not dead? You are so lucky, aren't you?" Number 17 said in surprise. "You all are alive, how can I die?" Son Gohan said coldly. "Humph, last time I told you to blow him into ashes with an energy bomb, but you insisted that he was dead. You are wrong this time, aren't you, number 17? Number 18 said with an unhappy look on his face, not minding at all how badly he was exposed. Number 17 chuckled and said, "Ha, isn't this just right? We are just bored right now, and fun things come to us on their own." As he said that, he became happy, folded his arms, and looked at Son Gohan and Trunks with interest. It was as if he was looking at two clowns who overestimated their own abilities. "Isn't this simply courting death? Ha, Son Gohan, I won't let you get away alive this time. I'm going to blow you into powder and turn you into ashes." Number 18 laughed. "Humph, prepare to die, Son Gohan." Number 18 snorted coldly and stomped her foot hard. The ground couldn't bear such a huge force and broke apart. Her body quickly pounced over along the ground. The few pieces of cloth on her chest swayed and fluttered in the wind. Big benefits. Son Gohan and Trunks stood there and felt that these two talked a lot smack today. Villains talk a lot, but they won't have a good ending. Son Gohan stared at number 18 and said, "Trunks, I got number 18. You go deal with number 17. "Yes, brother Gohan." Trunks breathed a sigh of relief and went to number 17 who wanted to watch the show. In a flash, no. 18 was already a few meters in front of Son Gohan. She jumped up and punched him in the face. The fist broke through the air with amazing power, making a popping sound, showing her tyrannical strength. Son Gohan's mouth twisted, and he stood there motionless. "Ha, are you scared, silly? You didn't even try to dodge?" Number 18 sneered in her heart. The fist was already close. Number 18 is very confident that if this straight punch hit Son Gohan head-on, he would either die or be crippled. But at this moment, Son Gohan slightly turned his body. Number 18's fist passed by him and hit the air. What? Number 18 was shocked. How could she miss? Before she could come to her senses, she felt a sharp pain in her abdomen. Number 18 felt that her stomach was about to burst. It was Son Gohan's right fist that hit her lower abdomen. There was a muffled sound. Number 18 spat out a mouthful of blood, and the perfect body flew out like a cannonball. Humph, die. Son Gohan sneered, and rushed forward, pressing a palm on Number 18's head. Number 18's eyes showed fear, and for the first time she felt that death was so close to her. Nu! Ah! A strong light flashed in Son Gohan's palm, and then Number 18's head exploded. The body that was originally full of temptation fell into the dust and instantly lost its color. Son Gohan's eyes were cold, and he flicked his fingers, and even the headless body exploded into beautiful fireworks. How can this be? Am I dreaming? Seeing this tragic scene, Number 17, who was struggling with Trunks, had his eyes wide open and his pupils shrank violently. Ah! He flew back, pulling away a distance, then waved his hands repeatedly, and energy balls roared out, bombarding. The surrounding land cracked inch by inch, and the mountains and rivers were shattered. Thick smoke and raging fire filled the air, covering an area of several kilometers. The ground sank deeply, and the entire town ceased to exist. Son Gohan flew high into the sky, constantly dispersing the smoke with his sleeves. Trunks, who was at the center of the explosion, was unharmed. None of the energy balls hit him, and he avoided them all. Humph! He snorted coldly, and his body suddenly accelerated, and he appeared behind Number 17 in an instant. Danger! Number 17 felt the murderous aura behind him, his hair stood up, and the energy on his hand flashed again, and he slapped back. Unexpectedly, Trunks did not dodge this time, and also raised his hand to hit him. The two palms intersected, and the energy storm exploded with them as the center. At this moment, Trunks changed his palm into a claw, grabbed Number 17's arm in one go, and then threw Number 17 into the sky with a strong swing. Immediately afterwards, Trunks burst into brilliant light all over his body, and an energy ball soared into the sky, chasing Number 17. Number 17 was instantly frightened out of his wits and screamed violently. But his screams were soon covered by the sound of the explosion. His body was submerged in the energy ball, constantly twisted and deformed, and then torn into pieces, and then it was vaporized. The strong and shocking flash covered the sky and the sun, and lasted for a full 10 seconds before disappearing. The haze in the sky was dispersed a lot, and the long-lost sunlight finally shone down. Chapter 10. Trunks and Son Gohan were silent for a long time. Memories of the past 10 years flashed through their mind. Trunks' eyes were moist. Son Gohan breathed a sigh of relief, a weight lifted off his chest, and he felt much more comfortable. His combat power during the bottleneck period loosened and became stronger again. Although not much, Son Gohan was very surprised. This meant that the bottleneck had been broken, and the second stage of Super Saiyan was just around the corner. Trunks wiped his eyes and said, "It's finally over." Son Gohan looked at him and smiled. "Let's go home." "Well, let's go home." Trunks smiled brightly. The two brothers, who were both master and apprentice, took off into the air and flew towards the capsule company. 3 days later. The news was playing on TV. The following is a message about the android. Dear survivors on Earth, according to reliable information, the 2 androids who have been a scourge to mankind for 12 years have been killed by 2 mysterious strong men. From today on, we humans are free. This news is not long, but it shocked everyone. All flesh and blood humans choked up, and many knelt down and kowtowed, thanking the 2 unknown mysterious strong men for saving all mankind. 12 years of suppressed emotions burst out, some cried, some laughed, sang and danced, and killed chickens and sheep to celebrate and make a feast. At Trunks' house, the three of them ate food while watching the news on TV. Bulma took a small bite of fruit, then looked at son Gohan and said, "Gohan, I informed the news that the androids were dead, but I know you and Trunk want to continue keeping a low profile, so I hid Trunk in your names. You won't blame me, will you?" Son Gohan tore a chicken leg and stuffed it into his mouth, filling it up, and then responded, "How could that be? This is perfect." "Yeah." Bulma nodded and smiled. "Gohan, you have become better than your father now." Son Gohan took a whole chicken leg bone out of his mouth, put it on the table, and said, Still a long way to go. Trunks is also very good." "Of course, Trunks is also very good. He has been following you all these years, and you taught him very well, Gohan." Hearing Bulma's words, Trunks couldn't help but straighten his chest. He looked very happy. It has been almost 2 years since he entered the hyperbolic time chamber. Trunks is now much taller than he was 2 days ago. Bulma sighed that her son has really grown up. Bulma continued, "But then again, why do you two always have blonde hair now?" "It's a kind of practice, Mom." Trunks answered. "Practice? All right then." Bulma didn't ask any more questions. She didn't understand anyway. Son Gohan thought for a while, then looked at Bulma and asked, "Aunt Bulma, I want to ask you something." "What's up?" "That's right, do you still remember the fortune-telling grandma?" "The fortune-teller? Oh, I remember. I saw her once when I was young. She lived in the desert and had a palace there." "Why are you asking this?" "I have something to ask her, Aunt Bulma. Do you remember the way? Take me there." Son Gohan's eyes lit up. Bulma agreed immediately. "Of course, no problem, we will set off after dinner." "Aha! Brother Gohan, can I go with you?" Trunks asked. "No problem, let's go together," Son Gohan said. Shortly after the meal, Bulma took out a capsule. Boom, and threw it onto the open ground, turning it into an airplane. The three of them took the plane, flew out of the West City, crossed the desert, and came to a verdant oasis, and then Bulma controlled the plane to land. It is hard to imagine that there is such a vibrant oasis in an endless desert. Trunks and Son Gohan were both here for the first time, and they looked around curiously. In the depths of the oasis, there stood a palace with a peculiar shape. It must be the residence of the fortune-teller. The three of them walked towards the palace. They soon arrived in front of the palace. But the door of the palace was closed, which gave Son Gohan a bad premonition. Son Gohan and Trunks looked at each other, because they could not feel any breath in the palace at all. In other words, there might be no one in the palace. But it is not ruled out that the fortune-teller is more underworldly and has no breath on her body. After all, the fortune-teller is not an ordinary person. But she is a messenger from the underworld. Bulma walked up and knocked on the door, waiting for a response. But the result was not good. After waiting for a long time, no one responded inside. "The fortune-teller is most likely not in the palace. It looks like there's no one inside," Bulma said helplessly. "It would be great if we could find Master Roshi. With their relationship, he should be able to contact the fortune-teller," Son Gohan said. Bulma said, "That old pervert has been out of contact for more than 10 years. He was probably killed by the androids, too. Master Roshi is either dead or hiding in a safe place for more than 10 years. But with his personality, the probability of being killed by an android is higher." After waiting for a long time, the three finally returned empty-handed. At the suggestion of Son Gohan, the three went to Penguin Village again. Unfortunately, they did not find the robot girl Aral. Penguin Village does exist, but it has been destroyed for more than half and is in a mess. Aral and Dr. Senbei Norimaki are nowhere to be found, as if they had evaporated from the face of the earth without leaving any trace. He don't know if they don't exist in this world or where they went. The three returned to Trunks' house again. Bulma continued to repair the spaceship. According to her, it would be repaired in a day or two. Trunks was asked by Bulma to stay at home to help. In Trunks' aggrieved eyes, Son Gohan went to the lookout alone. When he set foot in the lookout again, Son Gohan directly stated his purpose. Mr. Popo, can you contact King Kai? King Kai is the purpose of Son Gohan's trip. Including going to the fortune teller, it is also to be able to contact King Kai. He wants to know the address of New Namek through King Kai. This is his third plan, to go to New Namek. Mr. Popo said, yes, but Mr. Gohan should know that I can't interfere in the affairs of the mortal world. What are you going to do? Son Gohan smiled and said, this is not a matter of the mortal world. I just asked you to contact King Kai. This is just an ordinary contact toward gods. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Popo looked as if he had suddenly realized something. Yes, to be honest, I am looking for King Kai in order to find a new kami for the earth. Please help me contact him. Son Gohan said. Find a new kami for the earth? Mr. Popo was immediately excited and contacted King Kai immediately. His contact method was very simple and crude, and it didn't seem to have any technical content. But Son Gohan knew that he couldn't do it now, and there must be some mysterious key. Mr. Popo looked up and shouted to the air in the sky, King Kai, are you there? Popo has something to talk to you about. Son Gohan didn't find it strange, because he had seen more outrageous things. Although this way of contact is a bit crude, it is effective. Sure enough, not long after, King Kai's voice was heard in the sky. It's Popo, what's up? Mr. Popo immediately said, it's like this, King Kai, I don't have anything to ask you, it's Goku's child, Gohan, who wants to see you, and I asked him to talk to you directly. Oh, okay. The voice of King Kai resounded in the sky. Mr. Popo said to Son Gohan beside him, Mr. Gohan, you can talk to King Kai by putting your hand on my shoulder. Oh, okay. Son Gohan nodded and put his right hand on Popo's shoulder. The next moment, he felt a mysterious power connecting him with King Kai of the North. He could talk to King Kai of the North. King Kai of the North said, are you Son Gohan, the son of Goku? What do you want to talk to me about? Son Gohan said, Lord King Kai, I want to know the address of New Namek. King Kai of the North said, New Namek? Oh, I remember it. It was more than 10 years ago when you made a wish to Shenlong and asked Shenlong to help find a new planet suitable for Namekians to live on. I'll look for it. Yes, thank you. After waiting for a while, the voice of the North King came again. Found it. New Namek is in the Vega constellation, the 35th main system, the first planet. Gohan, what are you looking for Namek for? Son Gohan was delighted and silently noted down the location that King Kai said, then responded, thank you, King Kai. I am going to find a new kami for the earth. Oh, so that's how it is. Do you still have something to ask? If not, I'm busy racing. No, I'm busy working. King Kai said hurriedly. Son Gohan. He heard everything, King Kai. Is my father and the others there now? Son Gohan asked curiously. What are those people doing? North King Kai responded, Goku, they are not here now. They went to the Great King Kai to participate in the martial arts tournament. Is there anything else? Oh, that's all, thank you King Kai. Son Gohan said. Good, bye. King Kai hurriedly logged off and went to race his car. Son Gohan stroked his chin and put all those random emotions behind him. His expression gradually became happy. In this way, everything went smoothly. The third plan, check. That wraps up this part of What If Reborn is Gohan in Future Timeline. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Just a quick reminder, What If Luffy Became a Marine is on hold now, as we're caught up there too. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if Ichigo awoke his true powers? What if becoming a mangaka in the One Piece world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the favorite pick from the two and start working on that as its replacement series. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.